Hello, everyone. This is Justice with Jax. It's season 4, episode 6. We're putting in work. It's June 19, 2026, Juneteenth, baby. Hell yeah. We are working on liberation. And once again, there's an amazing human sitting across from me who you are going to get to hear from and some of their story in this Colorado Springs community. And as usual, we are updating you on the time it has been since the case that I am involved in, Armendariz versus City of Colorado Springs, represented by the ACLU of Colorado. How much time has it been since that case is filed? Well, it's been 1,054 days, or 2 years, 10 months, and 19 days. And so, as usual, we kind of use this show to be a vehicle for updates. But first, I'm going to do something equally, if not more important. I'm going to pass the mic and let my guests introduce themselves and all the pronouns, community affiliations that they want to share. So, my friend, take it away.
Hi, guys. Welcome to Justice for Jax. My name is Mel Flores. I'm an activist here in Colorado Springs. Pretty active with MigraWatch, About Face, and 5051. I'm all over the place here. What I don't got my hands in. I'm a confirmer.
For corn.
Yeah.
Yes. Excellent. Well, and that's why we asked, because the people who come on this show usually wear a lot of different hats, and, you know, it's all about what you want to share. As one of the many individuals, we are building a collective to be stronger together, is how I look at it, and that's kind of how we met. And
Right.
so, yeah. And I will say, a point of clarification, there is justice for Jax, because there is a trans woman who was killed here in Colorado. And so I want to make sure to give that specific shout out. And then if you look at us online, we're Justice with Jax. And so we're going to have some of those guests on the show, I think, later. But just want to make that clarification to honor Jax. I believe it was Littleton. And so as for the case, Armendariz versus City of Colorado Springs, which, keep in mind, this is really at the root of protecting our civil rights and holding police accountable. We're still in wait mode, which is the usual. We're used to that with the legal system.
Hurry up and wait.
Hurry up and wait. That's what we call it. And as a veteran, right, Mel, you're also familiar with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so other than that, like, the wait mode that we're in is the defendants, which is the government, the city and federal government, were previously granted an extension for some of the petitions that they may be choosing to file, which means still waiting to hear whether the case might be reheard in the 10th Circuit U.S. Court of Appeals. And there's also what's called the petition for writ of certiorari, which essentially is asking the Supreme Court to hear the case, which is pretty trippy. And in that regard, I always like to remind people the last opinion that we received was in February, where, again, this is where the 10th Circuit said the court found that the City of Colorado Springs and local police cannot avoid responsibility for unlawfully searched activists. And so I always want to underline, bold, italicize that the 10th Circuit made a really important finding, and that's how the ACLU has described it.
Right.
And so the journey continues, and that's why Mel is here to talk today about his journey. Part of this podcast, why it exists, is because people want to follow these things in Colorado Springs.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and
Can I ask you a question real quick?
Yeah.
How do you feel about your case possibly going to the Supreme Court?
Yeah, some guests are awesome and are like, wait, how are you feeling? Thank you for checking on me. You know, I've mentioned it in episodes before that it's really, in some ways, a leap of faith for me to even try to participate in the legal system in this way, because when you look at all the headlines the Supreme Court is making, most of them are pretty negative with regard to the preservation of our democracy.
Right.
And yet, what we have also talked about here too, I think, is how I'm feeling is And even knowing that, it's still super important. We do it anyway, even though we know that the systems we are faced with are broken and not working.
Absolutely.
And that's why we're activists, right?
Right.
Yeah. Well, thank you for asking.
Yeah.
And well, this is going to lead to, I would love to know from you as an activist. Now, this case, I think, draws people's attention here because it's about police accountability, protecting civil rights. Do you recall, like, when you may have first heard about it, and what you remember thinking when you were learning about it?
Yeah, absolutely. I remember seeing a post on somebody's Facebook. I think it was Sean's, and it was just like, "Don't be here. The cops are here." And I was like, "Well, what's that about?" And
he said that about his whole Facebook because
Right.
they were surveilling us. And this
Right.
is Sean Wall's
Yeah.
episode 2, season 1.
Yeah. And so I was just like, wow. And so I looked into the case a little bit more because that, kind of sparked my interest. I always
Yeah.
think people are looking at my Facebook as well.
Oh, we know they are.
Yeah.
As a result of this case, the police are definitely looking at everyone's socials.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Let's talk more about that. Well, so as you were looking into it, what did you think as an activist in this community? Because I presume that's why you were looking into it, because it's like, shit, that could have been me.
Right.
And that's
Absolutely.
foreshadowing, dear listeners.
Yes. Yeah, no, I was just expecting to see the outcome and how, like, it kind of went sideways and all the other stuff, that outcome that happened, like finding that person that was sneaking in Chinook, the
undercover officer.
Yeah. And then, it just came to light because, I kind of came up through Chinook as well, like when I first moved out here from Texas.
Well, that's why I would say the police investigated them, surveilled them, looked at Chinook Center as a threat simply for organizing people
Correct.
around civil rights, human rights, things that matter, Black Lives Matter, white supremacy being domestic terrorism, housing being a human right.
Right.
We believe in that.
Correct. Feeding
Hard
people.
stuff. Feeding people. Yeah, the
Feeding
pantry
people.
that Chinook Center runs.
Just
exactly.
just feeding people. But yeah, no, it was heartbreaking. Just because, I moved from Texas and I was thinking I was coming out of the oppression.
Getting away from that.
Yep, and coming to find out that it's got a chokehold up here too. And while it's maybe a little bit more liberal out here, these
in Colorado, right?
These officers out here, these ICE agents, these politicians even, they swing so far right that it's scary.
It is scary times, and that's where I think we've talked about it on this show. How do you cope with that? And that's different for everybody. For me, like, I'm leaning into doing the work with my community, and not only because that I think helps us feel less scared, but that solidarity is a comfort, right?
Oh,
like
absolutely.
That safety that you have working with your community is a comfort in these times.
Oh, absolutely. I remember when I got my charges.
So let's talk about it. That's why Mel is a wonderful voice to have on this show, because my story is not the only story. We've talked about it on this show where people came up to me afterwards and said, PD came after me. They had kids. They were worried about their job. They weren't in a position to feel they could speak out. That is wrong, obviously, in our democracy. And yet we know that's the truth because people are getting punished for speaking out.
Absolutely.
It happened then. It's happening now. And so I know it can be hard, Mel, to really summarize a complex kind of legal proceeding. But could you please share a short overview of really what's, as I understand, the civil rights journey that you're on after facing charges that were ultimately dropped? Very important to say that. And it was because of your community work advocating for immigrants here in Colorado Springs.
Yep. So the backstory is I'm a confirmer and I answered a call.
And for those who may not know what a confirmer is,
oh yeah,
if they know, maybe they know corn, but how does corn work?
So corn is the rapid response hotline here that we have. So if you see ICE or you suspect ICE, you will call the 1-800 number, and basically they will send out the text to the confirmers that are in the area, and whoever's in the area will respond and basically be legal observers, constitutional observers of the proceeding that's happening, either illegal kidnapping, trying to pick people up from work, pick people up in the middle of the night,
all the scary
all
shit
of
that's
it,
been
all of it.
happening, that we
Right.
see happening. And I want to say, like, I think a confirmer, like, I won't do it because I don't want to be face to face with those goons. I think it'll go sideways for me. I don't think I can handle, seeing my community abducted for no reason really other than they got some melanin
Right.
in their skin. And
Right.
so the day that, as I understand it, you're a confirmer for corn, and what charges did you specifically face with regard to that type of action you've been taking?
Right. So like I answered the page, and I actually found ICE, the people that were telling the victim, the caller that actually called, and I honked my horn to let the other confirmers know. And something inside me was all like, nah, they can't sit here. They can't wait for this man again to come out of work. So
And this was here in Colorado Springs. Do you mind sharing whereabouts it was?
over there off of Drennan and Academy.
So they're targeting a working class guy.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Primarily nothing but industrial companies down
Right.
the street. So, again, I didn't want him to sit there. And so I honked my horn again, and I was like, gave him the finger, and I was like, get out of my neighborhood.
Which is a First Amendment right to flip off the police, hard stop.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Your horn, First Amendment right. And so he got scared, pulled out of the
And
parking
this
spot.
is an ICE agent. Were they wearing ICE? Anything?
No.
No distinguishable that
Nope.
you are police. You could just be some creepy racist white guy
Absolutely.
abducting people, and
No
we could
mask,
never tell
no
the
nothing,
difference.
Nothing. And so, like I said, he left. I followed him, and they basically went right to the sheriff's office, and Daddy Sheriff, El Paso Sheriff, saved him. So, and no, I went about my day. I went about my life, actually.
Yeah.
And a few months down the road, I was in between jobs, and I got the job. I secured the job, but the people that gave me the job were like, we don't know you actually can get the job because you have pending warrants. And I
You're like, wait, what?
basically,
Oh my
and
gosh, that's a
so
horrible way to find out.
I was like, can you send me that information?
Yeah, I'm gonna need that info.
I have no idea what you're
God.
talking about, actually. So, and then come to find out, it was for confirming that day, and I got charged with obstruction of a government operations.
They love to do that one because it's the most broad type of quote unquote charge crime that they can pin on anyone.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're
Yeah.
good. Obstruction of a peace officer and reckless endangerment.
Wow. Yeah. So the typical argument from racist folk that our existence, the fact that we even watched them, breathed in their direction, made them like fear for their life, right?
Basically, they're scared of my finger.
Yeah. No shit.
My goodness.
Yeah.
That was the biggest laugh that me and my lawyer had out of the discovery was,
Right.
this is what gave him the whole charge, your finger. I was like,
He was like, that sounds like the First Amendment to me.
Right. Which
as a matter of
ultimately
fact.
got dismissed, and that's why
All of the charges got dismissed.
Right. And when I show everybody the video exactly what we done, and I think this is what's kind of the scary part, is that we did nothing wrong.
Right.
We did nothing wrong, and yet they put me through the ringer. I didn't get the job.
The accusation is the damage, and they know that.
Yep. And so, out of all this, though,
And I'm sorry you didn't get the job because of that.
no, it's all good. I am doing just fine, just hanging out. They've actually pushed me further into the activist scene by
That's
doing
usually
this.
what happens, my friend. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, they pick on us, and it's like, oh, you don't know me, do you?
Basically,
Right?
I was
And
like, well, I'm doing something now, and I'm getting under somebody's skin because why would you waste
That
taxpayer
part.
money to come with a little mess with little old Mel?
thank you so much for showing me the power that I do have. I had underestimated myself in a sense, and that's the case for me is years now, right? And so a lot of reflections and emotions that are just so challenging, and to just like, if you saw some of the stuff of the case, I don't know if you saw in your discovery, because that was a big part of us seeing how they act. But in our case, they were saying that people should kill us and they would drag away the bodies and they wanted to boot stomp us in the face. And our protest was for housing as a human right. And I'm like, I know cops have trouble affording their housing too. So why are you treating us like that if we're your neighbors? Like, we are not some enemy force that is occupying. And yet, like, fuck ICE so hard. I have been struggling. We all have been carrying this heaviness to see that they just got funded. It's like 150 billion to really potentially be Trump's little fascist army. Like, shit is very real right now.
Absolutely.
And so that's why I said, we were talking before this, it's like this show goes to some very deep and challenging places and topics. So can you share a little bit more about the journey even, and just like, I hate that they surprise you with warrants. Like, that's insane to me. And also, thank God you got to the moment where eventually I did too, where that accusation is just the damage in itself. They can't do it forever. They will try to kick the can and stuff. So how did that all play out? Because what I have noticed, and I can't recall, this may be true in your case, is that when they know they have nothing, in my case, they offered me better and better and better and better plea deals until the point my shitty lawyer did something I guess you're not supposed to do as a lawyer, and say, this is a deal you can't refuse, right? That's not cool as a lawyer, not very ethical, but that's what happened to me. And so I ended up getting like a deferred sentence that I completed, so I had no conviction. In your case, how did that play out? I think they dismissed right before you were going to trial. Is that correct?
Yeah. It was a tough, right? Like, so the day I was supposed to go to work for this company, instead of going to work, I had to go, remedy the warrants. So I had to go to jail. Very embarrassing.
You had to report yourself. Like, you were,
I turned myself in because just the stress of the one weekend of me having open warrants.
Right.
And just, because I didn't turn myself in immediately once I found out, right? I had to make some plans and figure out what was happening. Right, all of that. And, just that weekend alone was stressful on my family. Like,
truly, yeah.
We hid in the house. We didn't get to go to the parties that we wanted to. We didn't get to socialize. Like, we had all these plans, and it was like, psych, we're hiding in the house and watching our cameras.
And that's why it's on purpose, because they know that that's the impact that even a false accusation can have, and it is retaliation.
Absolutely. So yeah, I got that squared away. Like I said, I went to jail. Spent about a few hours in there. One of the organizations here bailed me out, and then we got reimbursed once the charges got dismissed. So but yeah, we've been put through the ringer for the last 4 or 5 months, going through court every other week. My lawyer has been super awesome.
This is your defense lawyer?
Yeah, shout out to my lawyer, Michael, from the Rector firm. Yeah, he's...
Say that one more time, what firm?
From the Rector firm. Yeah, he's awesome. You guys, if you get a chance to...
Give him some pub.
Yeah. Absolutely. But he was like, I got your back the whole time. He never let me feel like I was alone, but neither did the community. Good. Like, after coming out of the jail... basically, I leaned hard against the community because, it is scary. It is scary to,
it's
again,
a whole system, like,
I did nothing wrong. Like, if you're looking at the videos, like, if I shared the videos, there's nothing I did wrong. So, again, it's a very scary situation to be put through this ringer and be like, hey, you're an evil person, you're a criminal, actually, and we're going to take you away from your family. We're going to stop you from getting this job. We're going to put a complete halt to your life.
Everything, truly.
Because we don't like what you did.
Which is, and that's to emphasize, like, that is illegal because the government is not allowed to weaponize its power in such a way against the people. And yet here we are, 2026, and we see, the fascist Trump administration absolutely doing that, leaning into that, lodging a number of false accusations against all sorts of political public figures simply because we don't like what you said, and we don't like that you are black and or brown,
right?
Or black and brown.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they got dismissed, and now I'm going after them civilly because fuck that.
Yeah, that's what it takes.
Right.
We talk about this on the show often, is that the way our systems are set up really put the burden on like the little guy. This is a David versus Goliath, right? And the little guy, David, is usually the one bringing the accountability in these types of situations. And that's completely unfair, and yet absolutely part of the reality that you and I are living, because we are the little guys saying, no fucking way.
Right.
I am determined to live in the best type of America that I can, and boy, are we far from the fucking mark. But you and I are doing our parts with our community.
Absolutely.
To fight back for our rights.
I feel like, and I say this all the time. If you ever catch me out there, is, I did my 1 year in Baghdad, and I came back and I had the uniform on it, and I did my time, my 4 years, and I got thanked for that a lot. Everybody is still thankful for that, like even on Veterans Day. But the thanks that I got for chasing ICE out of the community is so much greater. It holds so much more weight, and I take those thanks to heart more than any other thanks that I've ever gotten in my whole life. So
well said. Yeah, absolutely. Like you, and I know I've shared it here, is that it was a true blessing to have community to fall back on as a safety net when you feel like your life has been upended. Because part of the civil rights arguments in my case is like, they fucking came into my house and like took all my shit, right? All my electronic devices, and they still have my digital fingerprint of my life, right? And so thankfully ACLU sees the value for all Americans in fighting a law enforcement action that violates civil rights like that. And I personally have never been the same person. I am more paranoid. I am more reactive in some instances, because I am still, years later, healing from the violation of that trust.
Absolutely.
It really fucked with my head to feel like they came to my house and like abducted me.
Yeah, it's
and
Big Brother.
This is happening to our neighbors now.
Right.
And they are being taken to concentration camps.
Cages, they're getting...
We can't stop now. That's the fucked up part. We have
separating
to keep going.
their...
Kids in cages is not fucking okay, period.
It's not, separating them from their families, having kids waiting at school for their families.
Oh, God,
I personally have had a family of 3 kids that I've had to take groceries to because their mom got picked up on their way home from work. This is a real thing. People are really scared to leave their houses. People are scared to go to their normal everyday appointments. They're afraid to just go
live,
throw out their trash in their own apartments, because they will come like fucking kidnappers and snatch them up even in the middle of the night.
And let's be clear too that this has gone so out of control that it actually doesn't even matter if you're an American citizen at this point. They will fucking abduct you too.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
And that speak out so hard as a veteran as well. And I wear that with my whole chest, because I feel
you fucking earned that.
I fought for this country, and if I fought for this country, like, if anybody's gonna have a say, you know what I mean, like, I'm gonna fucking say it. Like, no doubt. Guys took 4 years out of me. Like, I get to tell you what the fuck I think.
Yeah, and they also be better fucking giving you those VA benefits, goddamn.
Oh yeah, I'm coming after more. That's a whole other
system, right? That's a whole other
that's
system.
kind of how I got my start in activism.
This is where I wanted to go next. Yeah, like, if you don't mind, it's been such a pleasure to get to know you as a newer colleague and friend. I think we've bonded over being Tejanos, Chicanos, Chicana, and to find each other in this town at this time. Would you mind? I really appreciated hearing of your personal story and the journey to activism. So do you mind sharing a little bit more about the journey so far?
Oh man,
where to start? I know.
Basically,
I know.
Right? I drank the Kool-Aid, first of all. The system is always crazy, right? Like, the system is, the more I grow up the older I get, I realized like I had no chance, and I just fell
Right.
into the system, and I fell into the lane that they wanted me to. Being brown from a project in Houston, and basically a barrio, east side of Houston, there was no way for me to get out. Like, I also didn't know how to get into college, and if I did get into college, I didn't know how to pay for college.
Yeah, because nobody in your family ever done that either.
No,
right.
not really, not like that.
I get it.
And so, guess who's over there talking about 20 G's? Sign up. We'll pay for free college. Just come.
GI Bill.
Put
Yeah,
your
we got you.
name on the dotted line. And I was 17 when I joined.
Oh,
so,
wow. Yeah, that's a baby.
I remember the recruiter looking at me, and I was so gung ho too. Like, the recruiter looked at me, and he was all like, "I don't care, as long as there's a signature there."
As long as you have I'm just collecting bodies, which is
Right.
fucked up.
And like,
yet,
I had to have my parents' signature to join. So like,
at the age of 17. Yeah.
So like, basically, he was like, "Here's the paper. I don't care if the signature, as long as there's a signature there.
if
I'm
you
cool."
say it's your parent,
Yeah,
that
basically,
works.
that's how it went. And so
Damn.
I went to my mom, and my mom
Yeah.
was like, "I'm not sure," and I'm like, "Listen, this is gonna happen." I actually told her what my recruiter said, and she just signed the paper. You know what I mean? And so like, I did my 4 years. I did my 1 year in Iraq. And
What kind of work scope did you have? You're a mechanic, is that right?
Yeah, I was a mechanic in the Army. Did that the whole time. I deployed 1 year in Baghdad. And it's just, the facade comes away when you're not watching the news, right? And you're not
You're seeing the sausage get made. You're on the inside seeing it from that angle, right?
Because before, you join and you're awesome, you're this.
It's a
you're
propaganda,
that. Yeah,
like, for sure.
Propaganda free for all. I mean, you done drank the Kool-Aid, my friend. Like, I'm telling you, you are patriotic.
Right.
You
This
play
is a
the
warrior
red, white,
mindset.
and blue. Fuck, you got it on. You're wearing the flag.
Hail to the chief.
I swear to God.
Yeah.
It's how it goes. And then you get over there, and just the veil just comes off. You just see the atrocities that the military does. And then just the whole industrial military complex, the footnotes that it leaves behind. I mean, like, I remember coming back and just even reading, like, this article's buried so far now. It was a USA Today article. But if you've ever been to Iraq or Afghanistan, we have metal in our lungs that we can't expel because of how much we bomb the shit out of them. Yeah, like, it was just in the fucking sand.
The burn pits over there that left people basically non-functional because their lungs, like, you can't do that to humans.
Right. We burnt everything. We burnt everything. We burnt from paper to tables to boots to petroleum to shit.
Which is why people are sick now, right?
They were like, just sit down, win.
It's like oh, what the man.
Fuck? Yeah,
that's
so
probably not scientific.
I came out of the Army a little fucked, forced out, because I did get caught with spice. And spice was my addiction for 6 years. And I do blame the Army on that as well, too, because I feel like I could have had an Army career had they helped me out of the addiction instead of be like, hey, peace, you're a liability now, like, I gotta go. And so
and may I interject, interestingly, it's something I've noticed, and you would be the lived expert on it, is it seems like the warrior culture in the military, like, alcohol is fine to misuse. Absolutely. Because that gets you like raged out, and that's what warriors need to be. And yet any other substances, that's where they're like, oh, you're a broken human. And spice is like, what, a sort of, you smoke it, I think. Like, what kind of a substance is that?
It was basically like weed. That's the way they marketed it as when it first came out, but it didn't come out in a drug test, and that's what was the big thing, right? Because like, military, you can get random urinalysis,
right? UAs,
right? And that was the projection when we came back from Iraq. Just a fellow battle buddy was like, "Hey, let's get fucked up," and I was like, fucking down this rabbit hole. And then I was gone. And so, I did turn to the VA for a lot of things when I got out, but the biggest thing was for my addiction. I ended up in the system. I ended up in trouble. And, long story short, they did put me in a halfway house. They did put me in the vet program. But while I was in this halfway house, like halfway through my treatment, me and 40 other veterans got kicked out because some fucking inspection happened, and
a violation of some
I have
kind?
no idea. I could tell you. I'm telling you what they
What
told
you know,
us.
yeah.
And I fucking still can't tell you if that's true or not.
Wow.
But some inspectors came in and was like, "This isn't up to par." But I will tell you right now. Before I had went to that halfway house, I was in another halfway house, and that one had like 8 fucking people in the room. And when I went to the VA one, it was like 3 people to a room. Like, yeah, we were still smushed together, but I had a locker, a foot locker, a bed, and like some sort of privacy. And the other halfway house,
They were just shoving you in there.
as many bodies as they can get into.
Yeah.
And yeah, so like I said, I went to this other halfway house with the VA, and halfway through they shut us down. And 3 of my other friends that I had made in this program ended up committing suicide. At the next halfway house, they got pushed out too because, you know, they didn't get the voucher. They pushed our Section 8 voucher through, and at this point I actually think I should have called the news or anything, but I was so young too while this is all going on. Like, I'm 26, 24, around that age, and so I'm also in the court system, so like what I'm doing is basically what they're telling me to do, because I gotta make it, you know, and I'm still getting high, so like, you know, I'm still doing crazy shit. And after they kicked us out and after my friends committed suicide, I realized that the system was fucked because, you know, of all that shit. And I was like, I'm angry. Like, somebody has to know about this. And I started fighting the VA. And I realized that there was no fight in the VA. Like, there's nobody to talk to. You basically get told to talk to your congressman.
I was going to say, that is about, from my end, you know, I worked in a congressional office, and a lot of times it was very striking how we were sort of the end of the line. And like, sad things happen because, like, I argue, yes, bureaucracies are challenging, like, by their very nature. And also, what is a government? Like, it's the people in it, right? And so I am proud of, but it was also very sad of the work, because we would be like, the VA has trouble talking to its different parts sometimes, or talking to the constituent or the veteran.
Absolutely.
And basically there was one case where we just had to send, the VA had a typo in a case number and they didn't know it. And that's all that was holding up the veterans' benefits. And so as soon as we were able to send them the case number, the VA actually sent us a letter back saying, like, please tell the veteran we're sorry. Like, this is what's happened. And, you know, yes, mistakes happen. And also, when it's a federal agency, those mistakes hurt a lot more than like a typo in the newspaper, you know?
And, you know, sometimes I don't fault those guys, because I know that they're overworked and underpaid, and you're screaming at the VA people, but they ultimately work for the system, you know, and they can only say so much and do so much, and they only know so much for a reason.
Indeed.
They only teach them so much for a reason, because if they taught them how to work the system, if they taught them to actually help the veteran, I have no bone in my body that would think that anything otherwise. You know what I'm saying? I have no thoughts that person behind the desk wouldn't help that veteran. Like, I think that's why everybody works at the VA, is, you know what I mean? I
agree.
And I could be naive. I could be
met,
naive at this, right?
No,
like,
I think that's what's tough about public service, right? Because I think a good amount of people, especially in those jobs where you're bureaucrats, well, it's because they want to help largely. Like, you don't necessarily become a bureaucrat, I think, because you're like, I want to be all powerful. It's like, they're a cog in the system, but they want to be helpful. And that's where the humanity of it all really comes out. And it's like, we can't excuse those things from happening. And also, we recognize it's humans behind this, right?
Absolutely.
So
it's just crazy to me. I never understood how I had to talk to my congressman to get something from the VA.
From the VA, yeah.
I was like, why did somebody up top had to tell you
why
to press
is the system
enter?
So shitty? Yeah, why did the congressional office had to correct this typo for the VA?
Crazy.
Right,
like, why couldn't somebody?
I have one to tell you. I think I've mentioned it on this show because it's my favorite, and I won't say that not in a positive way, just kind of fucked up example, is we had a veteran who, she had been engaging with the VA, and then you know how they intersect with benefits and they'll try to claw back. They're like, there's a typo, there's an error, whatever. And so she was going through that, and essentially the agency was making the argument, hey, we're trying to claw these benefits back because our paperwork is telling us we like overpaid you because we thought you were married. So, veteran, you have to prove to us, send us documentation that shows you were never married. It was like, that makes no fucking sense. And so the veteran was kept on talking to different, parts of the agency and being like, this is like a false logic. Like, you can't prove a negative sort of thing. And they came to our office, and that's what I had to write on the senator's letterhead. I don't know if I signed it or he did, which matters.
Right.
But I remember distinctly just telling the agency, just to point out, you were asking this veteran to prove a negative, so how could they ever produce paperwork that says they weren't married, right?
Right.
And then the VA wrote back, and they didn't apologize, but they basically wrote back.
We retract our statement.
Well, they wouldn't even acknowledge that. No, they wrote back and said they were going to stop trying to claw back from the veteran.
Oh, Lord.
And I thought that was so interesting. I was like,
we've got
you're leaving it out of the letter that you agree that I pointed out. You literally can't prove a negative.
Well, it's just the military in general. Like, I'll tell you a real quick story of what happened when I was in active duty once. So I was supposed to go to a duty station. I ended up getting held back in my other duty station. And while I was in processing at my next duty station that I had got, was probably a few months in between, but I was getting overpaid, according to them.
Because they say that, right?
Yeah,
that's what they claw back.
Yeah. They were saying, well, you got out of training, so we gave you this money. If you were in training, we would have took this money back. It was basically my food stipend. And when I was in processing, they basically held 2 checks for me while I was on active duty. I was like, what am I can't get soap for my ass. Damn. I can't get water for my room. Like what the fuck do you want me to do?
Bro.
Yeah. And they were like, well, you could eat at the DFAC. And I was like, all right, guys. Like, so
I suppose they have water there.
The military fucks everybody at any time they can, except themselves.
Interesting, yeah.
Except themselves.
Well, and you used the phrase earlier, but like military industrial complex, that is something that I think maybe we're at a better place to understand what that means. But for a long time, I think it got written off, even though, a historical figure like Dwight Eisenhower, our once president, right, was like the military industrial complex. The fact that people can make money at war is a problem. And so when I hear you say that, I can't help but think about that element, because like you say, it's like for the individual who together you make up the military, you often get screwed. And yet this collective force is used to make money for other wealthy interests, right?
Absolutely.
And so
through destruction, through, just going through towns and ripping them up. I mean,
all sorts of wild shit, which is where, like, when you look at what we've been witnessing lately with how much has been spent in Iran, right, with the whole Strait of Hormuz, which nobody knew about before 2026, because
those guys aren't even getting fed right out there.
It's fucking insane. Yeah. And when you say those guys, that's the military, the individual soldiers who are out there. And yet, again, that collective agency,
they're richer than ever.
They're not going to fuck themselves over. Yeah. Because as a matter of fact, Congress is. Yeah.
Little bitch.
Yeah. Fuck Elon Musk. And so, circling back to where we are, you've been on quite the journey. And it sounds like, again, that your service in the military was the start of this. And you mentioned the different hats you wear. So can you talk a little bit about the work that you've been doing in Colorado Springs since you got here?
Absolutely. Yeah. So when I was going through all of this case and everything like that, I actually got hit with a restraining order against the whole Department of Homeland Security. Like, yeah, my lawyer was like, what the fuck?
You are powerful, my friend.
My goodness.
Wow.
I'm trying to tell you. So basically, I have to go up to every person on the street and be like, are you ICE? Get away from me. No.
Right.
No. But like I said, I think they just wanted to stop me from confirming, which I did. I
Gotcha.
didn't, go to the scene where ICE may be.
Right.
So I found different needs in the community, right? Like, they're still scared to leave, like I said. So, after ICE has came and went, people don't want to go to the grocery store. People don't want to go to the doctor's appointments. People don't want to go to school. I remember driving in a neighborhood after ICE had been there and gone and left, and all the other confirmers had gone and left, and basically I didn't even hear a dog bark. Like,
Creepy. Yeah.
no kids were playing outside. Like, there was no life out there. Everybody was hiding behind curtains, and I can understand why, and once I got to know the neighborhood, and once the neighborhood got to know me, I figured out, like, they have their own chain of security. Like, by the time my front tire hit that neighborhood, I was in 7 different chats with my car. They keep each other safe.
Community keeps each other safe.
Right.
Yes.
And that's how I felt safe too through my case. Like, reaching out to others and having court support. Like, I think at one point we had up to 40 people walking with me behind me, and the judge was like, what the hell? And once my case was done and heard, and then 40 more people get up and walk away, like, she's like, okay, well, that, I mean, it makes a statement, it makes a statement. And I've just filled in the cracks where I can to help our community, as like drop off groceries. I'll take people to their appointments. I will do some patrols in their neighborhood. I've created an organization that also, community that can help me do this.
Right.
Shout out to MigraWatch. 719. But MigraWatch is like all over too. So,
okay.
If they got a MigraWatch in Denver, they got a MigraWatch in Minneapolis. Like, we're all over. So
excellent.
It's a collective. Again, more community, more people, more hands on this stuff to just kind of again show everybody in Colorado Springs and show ICE that you guys are not welcome here.
Truly. And I think part of what I worry about with the challenges we currently face is I see, hear, and feel a dissolution of trust. And I think
it's going to deteriorate even worse.
Right? Well, I think that's kind of their purpose, right? Is because if we don't trust each other, that can weaken us. And in the case that we experienced, trust was violated because we were even like infiltrated by someone lying about who they are.
Absolutely.
Right? And so, given the work that you're doing, how do you approach that aspect of the challenge? Because sometimes, I mean, this phrasing, you've probably heard it but it's called like cop jacketing, right? Because like trust is a precious thing, and I know mine has been injured because of what I experienced. And so it's hard not to be suspicious of people anyway, right? And so it comes against, like, we know the value of community and trusting one another, and also there's a space where it's like, well, you need to earn that. And sometimes, there are definitely people like undercover police officers trying to violate your civil rights.
Absolutely.
That you should be suspicious of.
Oh, yeah.
So how do you reconcile with those realities that we're currently facing?
I again, consider me naive if you would like, but
an optimist.
I got to see the good in everybody. In this work, I have to see the good in people, and
to do this work, I think you need to be an optimist, for your own well-being.
Absolutely, for your own well-being, but also just like every day, like, because this stuff gets heavy, right? Like,
right.
Like you said, like not all of this is rainbows and sunshines. So like, you're already doing the work, and then you have another person in the organization just either
they injure it somehow, right?
Somehow slow it down or put a block to it or kind of divert the mission. It's hard. It's been hard for me. I feel like, again, I try to handle everybody with grace and dignity and the benefit of the doubt. But, you know, at the end of the day, I have a mission that I need to get done. And whether you're ICE or whether you're a police officer or whether you're just another person in the community that's trying to slow me down, I can't have that. You know what I'm saying? I can't have that. People depend on not going to the grocery every now and then. People depend on me picking up a phone every now and then to like, hey, Mel, I'm kind of scared. I got you, friend. And don't worry, there are other people that got you too. You're not alone. And again, but being in these positions that we've been in, we know it's
the value of that.
Yeah, exactly. So while it is scary, it is difficult to navigate. I feel naive and give everybody that little.
You and me both, friend. Like, maybe you could say that's a part of, again, maybe I would call it optimism. Maybe it's naivety, but at the end of the day, like, I am trying to, like, be the good that I want to see in the world.
Absolutely.
And so I've got to believe that maybe not in all spaces, but I will find the spaces where that is reciprocated. And that's kind of the journey that I've been on so far. Because real talk, especially, we've mentioned it on the show, like coming from a political campaign under one of the partisan parties and just having it be, frankly, a really negative experience.
That's crazy.
People backstabbing and I mean, like, just kind of doubling down on all the shit talking we do about politics. Yeah. And it's like,
I got thrown into all of that too, because while I'm going through all this, I am actually cornering as many politicians as I possibly can.
Right? Yeah.
I'm like, hey, actually, cornered Mayor Yemi.
Right. Who we called out on this show for being a total dummy, saying he wants more ICE raids in this town. That was back when it was right after they abducted so many people from like that shitty fake nightclub in our neighborhood, right? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
And he actually said that?
Yeah,
I was appalled.
Shock. Yeah, absolutely.
I was so mad.
At first I thought that was gonna be like, okay, like people are gonna wake up, you know.
Yeah,
and no, it was kind of just thrown under the carpet, thrown under the rug.
I agree with, which is so on brand. It feels like for Colorado Springs.
Absolutely. But you know, I actually was on City Hall one day, and he was coming up the steps, and I cornered him. He was coming up by the steps by himself, and I was like, "Hey, Mayor Yemi, my name is Mel. Did you know that I am a constituent in your city and that I have a trial on April 22nd?" And I was like, blah, 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 and I told him the whole situation. And he was like, "Oh, well, CSPD doesn't work with ICE." And I'm like, "Don't lie to me.
You be lying. I saw that shit."
I have first-hand account stories of that. Like, don't play with me, bro.
You've seen it yourself.
Yeah. And I was telling him the situation about ICE, and I was like, brother, I would do it for you.
Who, just to be clear, Mayor Yemi is a naturalized, I think, U.S. citizen. Is that right? He immigrated from Africa. I do not remember which country.
Me neither, but he is an immigrant himself. He did come here
which was such a big deal,
crazy,
right? It was like,
so
oh, wow,
like,
look at Colorado Springs. They elected a black immigrant. Wow. And also, we have way far to go.
Oh, my God. So, coincidence or not, coincidence.
I don't believe in coincidences, as we have discussed.
I will let you know. The next day, my lawyer was like, hey, all charges dismissed.
Oh, I didn't realize the timeline went down like that. Yeah. That's so interesting. Yeah.
Right. And so
you were like, I better keep speaking out then.
Yeah. And I cornered Mateo and his thoughts on ICE.
That's the Democratic Party's sheriff candidate for this 26 cycle.
Right. I cornered Weiser, bro. I stopped Weiser at Assembly. Like,
I'm so glad. Yeah. This is what it takes. Yes. This is the work.
It is it. Like, that is the way to get heard. Because if you're not clapping, if what does it say? The loudest wheel gets the oil.
The squeakiest wheel gets the oil.
Right. So I didn't go down without a fight for sure. I made sure everybody knew. I spoke out at every protest I possibly could. Anybody who gave me the time of day, I was like, also, hey, did you know I'm a veteran with their first rights getting trampled on right now? Like, you know, and
I do know because you're at the part of the journey where it's scary. It was scary for me that I was like, is this case even gonna fucking get picked up? Like, my shit got rocked and I'm just supposed to live with that. Something happened to me that I know is wrong, that I know is a violation of my civil rights. and will I ever see justice?
Right.
Because at that point we were still like trying to get attorneys to take the case, to pay attention, and that part is challenging. And so you're in a sense, I feel like it's good. You're ahead of the game in that you have an attorney who's committed to making this an issue. So that's friggin' fantastic. I would love to hear the calls to action that you would invite people to join, because you are wearing so many hats. So there's La MigraWatch. There's also, you said About Face. Yeah. So tell us what's going on good and calls to action, and what is going good in your life to balance it out here with some positivity.
All right. Yeah. So, I love camping.
Yeah.
I go out there to the mountains. Like, coming to the mountains was awesome. But yeah, we got a few things coming up that like is a game changer, right? Like, coming together as a community on the 27th in Acacia Park, kind of honoring each other as organizers, and then, raising funds and donations for MigraWatch and GSUS and other various organizations. And, we got, tell you about one thing that we've got coming up. I haven't really planned. All right, so like the DoubleTree off a lake, they're hosting a job fair for ICE.
I've been seeing the chatter, right?
Right. And so the 7th, 8th, and 9th of July, we're going to basically shut down that job fair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, where can people look for more details or get in contact if they're interested in joining? That's definitely part of that, solidarity, power in numbers.
Hell yeah. So you can find us on any social platform, MigraWatch 719. But we're in Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all over the place. You can find us at our new member meeting. We'll have one coming up in July too. We'll post about that. But yeah, come check us out on Acacia Park on the 27th, and then...
Good. I'll edit it before then so you can share it more.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
And then, About Face has something coming up on July 4th. We're going to be marching out in Philly. That's going to be exciting. We're trying to mobilize 500 families of military members and their family members to put a stop to this basically bullshit.
Well, it's already here, right? The ongoing fascism and violation of our democracy, and the fact that people are fearing and wondering whether there's even going to be an election.
Right.
And they're already dropping their little seeds of any election that we win is faked and rigged. Right. Like the shit going on in California. I've been very upset listening to what Republicans are saying in terms of having no fucking clue or evidence about any rigged elections, but doing it because they know that they want to seed that for the upcoming election.
Correct.
And yeah, sometimes I can't believe this is the world we live in, but we're also going to share the good stuff, like everything people can join that you just talked about in the community. And also, I'm excited about this. You like camping. I like biking. And so Bike to Work Day is coming up.
I love that. Heck yeah.
Live from here, Studio 809 Podcasts at the NextUS. So it looks like we're going to have a breakfast station here if you're ready to get on your bike at the NextUS from 6 to 9 a.m. That's on June 24th. And there'll be some episodes recording of other podcasts, and people who are writing will get a pancake and could be even featured on the mic. So
heck yeah.
There's good things here too.
We got an awesome trail right there too.
Yeah.
That bike trail, it takes you right down.
We have an amazing urban trail system in this town, and amazing human beings doing the work that you just shared. So thank you, Mel. Keep up the good work. I'm honored to be your new colleague, and maybe even amiga. I think we're friends now. Hell yeah. And so I will close it out as usual. These episodes of Justice with Jax are recorded as a member of the Studio 809 Podcast Collective at the NextUS Community Co-working Space in downtown Colorado Springs. Remember to ask yourself 2 questions. Who's telling your story, and how are you being the change you want to see in the world today? This is Justice with Jax, signing off.